In this lesson, I'm going to talk about the actual content of the XML/HTTP request and how we're getting actual useful stuff back from the server from our request. If you're following along with the exercise files, this is ajax/chapter03/04/script.html, and it's identical to the HTML file from the previous example. The XML file is also identical. Where the changes are is just a few lines in our JavaScript code. Down at line 18, the onReadyState change event handler is triggered and will call the showContents function whenever the state is changed by the server. The showContents function down at the end now does a few checks at the beginning. We're going to check to see if xhr.readyState is 4. While the ready state can be 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, we only care about that time when it's 4, when the request is finished being served up by the web server. This function will be called every time ready state changes, as it goes from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, so on. But the only time we need to actually do anything with it is when ready state is 4. Our next line checks to see if xhr.status is 200. So we want to know, did it come back from the server with a value of OK? So if we get to the next line, it means that our ready state is 4, so it's completed the loading, and our status is 200, which means that we found the file and we were able to read it and everything. So in this case, what we're going to do is set a new variable, outMessage, to be xhr.responseText. Response text is a text that the web server passes back in response to our request from the server. So JavaScript is saying, in this case, please give me a file called colors.xml. If we get to this line of code, it means we found that file, everything was good, now we want to see what the server handed us back. Otherwise, we want to say that there was a problem with the request and take a look at the status. Is the problem that it was a 404, that it couldn't find the file? Is the problem that the file is somehow locked or we don't have permission? This way, outMessage will be set in a fashion that it will tell us what's going on. And then finally, we set the update area div in our HTML. We set its inner HTML to be whatever we've set up outMessage to be. So now that we've walked through the code, let's see what it's actually doing. We go back to our script.html file, and then we load this page into our browser. And you can see Firefox now has localhost/ajax/chapter03/04/script.html. And this is not a particularly pretty page, but you can see that it has gone out and gotten that information from the server. And it's dumped it on the page. And now we can actually start doing something with it using JavaScript to make it more interesting, more attractive, more useful. Now it's gone out and gotten the data from the XML file on the server, and it's dumped it to the screen. It's not terribly pretty, but in coming lessons, we'll start looking at how to have JavaScript do something about that. Now, if we go back to our text editor, you may have seen down near the end here where we set outMessage to be response text. And you also might be remembering that there was also a property called response XML. And why didn't we use that instead? Why look at text? In our next lesson, we'll be comparing the differences between response text and response XML and seeing when you'd want to use one over the other and why.